Hey, shalom, shalom. Hayawam tawab la atam za akyakam yawam manor chagadar Charlotte, which is good evening or good day. This is your brother Yawan from the GMS camp in Charlotte. Nacham atam kayah malakwat hashamayim kwarab. Repent ye for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call halayim la abanaw Yahweh bahasham Yahweh shai bahasham rochak wadashwa mashin la la zakwayim wa malakim shol rochak adar, which is all praises to our Father Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shai, He delivers in double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. So this is Matthew chapter 26, and we'll get verse 73. All right, and it says, "And after a while came unto him they that stood by and said to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thy speech beware of thee." All right, so ultimately by his speech, all right, they can tell that, he was from a specific area. All right, this is NLT. It says, "A little later, after some of the bystanders came over to Peter and said, You must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent." All right, essentially going into, if you're from specific areas, all right, you're going to talk a certain way, you'll think a certain way, you have certain accents, you'll have a certain dialect, and you also have a certain way of life and thinking, So essentially by someone's speech, you can tell, what type of person they are. This is Bon Sirach, chapter 17. All right, and we'll get Bon Sirach, chapter 27. All right, and verse let me see. We'll get verse 6. It says, "The fruit declareth if the tree have been dressed." All right, and we understand that trees in the scriptures, all right, can be likened to men. So it says, "So is the utterance of a conceit in the heart of a man," so you can tell, all right, ultimately what's in the heart of a man, his mind, all right, through his speech. All right, that's what the fruit goes into, all right, the productions of that specific person. Verse 7, "Praise no man before thou hearest him speak, for this is the trial of man." All right, because essentially, you ultimately can see how someone reasons, things that they're thinking, how they process information, all right, by, the things that they say, ultimately going into those that are speaking in the lines of the terms of the truth, and then also going into applying this to, how different areas and different areas in society, to tell how what someone's thinking, how they're thinking. All right. So nevertheless, I want to get a couple articles. I don't want to Zaza by Nayapad Lords, where this is a beautiful edification through the spirit. All right, because ultimately when you go into different cities, all right, it comes with different spirits. All right. So just going into this is I'm gonna get this. It says, "A city is a spatial and economic reality, but also something more esoteric, an agglomeration of values, of mentalities, even of spirituality." Now I want to get this word for agglomerate. And it says, "Together into a mass cluster or ball, especially in a messy or jumbled way." And we're in America, Babylon the Great, you see. So a lot of cities in America is nothing more than an agglomerate, or what you would call a melting pot. All right. So nevertheless, continuing on, it says, Joel Kotkin has stated that great cities foster three elements: personal safety, economic possibilities, and sacredness. And port cities, all right, your port cities will be your Miamis, your Savannahs, your Charlestons, all right, Hampton Roads, the Tidewater area, Baltimore, all right, D.C., Philly, New York, the port cities, where when you look at, I'm going to get this real fast, just to go into a point. This is Yashaya, Isaiah, chapter 22. We'll get verse 18, and it says, "He will surely violently toss and turn thee like a ball into a large country. There thou shalt die, and there the chariots of thy glory shall be the shame of the Lord's house." All right, ultimately going into how the Lord, brought, the southern kingdom over to America, Babylon the Great. That violent country, all right, is America, Babylon the Great. And a lot of these port cities is where, Southern Kingdom was brought into, so a lot of port cities is where, again, where Jake resides. All right, this is where you have a lot of inner city areas. All right. And it says, "It is shipping that taints the sacredness and gives port cities their special nature, more entrepreneurial cosmopolitan, and free-mindedness. And when you go into cosmopolitan, it essentially means like of the world. So you have people from all different walks of life in port cities. And Esau essentially benefits off of this. That's where, America can be likened to a land of traffic. All right, it's a lot of traffic. Traffic goes into business, merchandising. All right, that's why it says entrepreneurial, cosmopolitan, and free-mindedness, because, again, going into how in different port cities, you're going to have a lot of business, a lot of diversity, and things as such. So continuing on, it says the port city the port city is dynamic. It's a lot. It says port city links the city to a larger context. The unknown streets bear the names of rivers and countries. All right. It's one of the lines of Flemish poet Paul van Ostingen, which if you go to like the Tidewater region, you have cities like you have streets like the James River Bridge Tunnel, named after like different waterways and stuff like that. So it says the port city brings in new faces, new ideas, and new activity. All right. I'm going to skip down some. It says the port city is not elegant. Quite the contrary. She shows the essence of the real rough life. It says countless are the cultural references to crime, murder, and all kind of murky businesses and ports. You see, because when you take, I'm going to skip down here. It says in many cities, it is also the maritime heritage that provides the most visible, durable link with past generations, docks, ships, shipyards. You got a lot of shipyards in port areas. Savannah, all right, the Hampton Roads area, Tidewater. All right. It says their workers, their stories, their history, this sacred link between generations that provide identity of the place, It says one of the big advantages of being in a city is the agglomeration, pretty much going into the diversity of that specific area, So I'm gonna get some more and then get some precepts. Right here, this one says, let me see. It says sense of place. It says citizens of these harbor cities have a strong sense of place. They use the harbor and other points of reference to locate themselves geographically, but more importantly, they identify their home and values in relation to the city and harbor. It is significant to residents when they refer to themselves or are referred to as a New Yorker, a San Franciscan, a Sydney Sider, a Cape Towner, or a Cover Coast, as well as an Australian or Brazilian. You see, so if you take places like if you went to Savannah, Charleston, Miami, New York, Baltimore, a lot of port cities, and keep in mind too, all of these are on the East Coast. It's a lot. All of these are on the East Coast. If you was to go to your iPhone maps or Android maps or whatever, and do it at like nighttime, a lot of times you'll see a lot of lights on the eastern shore of America. All right, and reason being because a lot of port cities, it's a lot of traffic. All right, these are heavy areas of traffic, because if you take a couple hundred years ago, all right, these areas was where Esau essentially was coming in, doing trade, doing the ports. All right, and that ultimately goes into the original 13 colonies. All right, so continuing on, let me see. It says an economic engine, so a lot of times in Esau's society, all right, these are what brings in the revenue for him, So it says economic engines. It says iconic harbor cities are strong economic engines for their respective countries. The amount of trade, particularly international trade, that flows through each city is naturally and even globally significant. Iconic harbor cities benefit from the flow of goods through their harbors. In addition, the industrious activities of recent immigrants fuels economic growth in harbor cities. The exchange of ideas that occurs associated with an international commerce also provides a melting pot. And then that's essentially, that goes into, again, that goes into how Esau pretty much brings it in his revenue. But I want to get this as well. It says construction of ports. Ports play a crucial role in global trade, commerce, and industry, serving as vital hubs facilitating the movement of goods across countries and continents. Efficient ports contribute to economic growth and prosperity by streamlining the supply chain, reducing transmit time, and lowering logistics costs. All right, logistics that goes into your trucks, that goes into your ships, that goes into essentially different ways to, or it goes into the system of transporting goods and services. All right. That's essentially logistics. All right. That's where a lot of supplies comes in at. All right. That's when you go to the ports, that's where supplies comes in, in those specific areas. Again, it goes into diversity. So I wanted to get some of the attributes essentially that this goes into, and went into intermediation. It says intermediation is an act of coming between or mediating and refer to a number of different things. Now, I wanted to get this too. It says intermediation means the act of coming between or mediating of the process of connecting people or things that are unable or unwilling to meet. All right. When you go support sees, a lot of time it has it's a lot of Jake. All right. And also it's a lot of military traffic, so it might be Edomites that ain't never really met Jake before. So again, that goes into how it's a melting pot. Then it has a transition, those that are shifting from one state to another. All right. Vagueness. All right. It says vagueness of something is not clear or detailed can lead to confusion, doubt, or misinterpretation. Then it says informality. That's where they get the term, you talk like a sailor, because in these different port cities, essentially, all right, they talk very informally. All right, and right here it says an exchange of information, either oral or written, that does not fall within the traditional structures or methods. All right, and all of these are found in port cities. Reason being because it's a lot of people from different walks of life. All right, so I just want to get some precepts going into this. All right, this is Shawapatnyam, Judges, chapter 12. We'll get verse 1. It says, and the men of Aparayam gathered themselves together and went northward and said unto Yapatah, wherefore passest thou over to fight against the children of Imwan, and didst not call us unto thee to go? Salak did not call us to go with thee. We will burn thine house upon thee with fire. And Yapatah said unto them, I and my people were at great strife for the children of Imwan, and when I called you, ye delivered me not out of their hands. When I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in my hands and passed over against the children of Imwan, and the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore then are ye come up unto me this day to fight against me? Then Yapatah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Aparayam, and the men of Gilead smote Aparayam, because they said, Ye Gileadites are fugitives of Aparayam among the children, so like among the Aparayamya, and among Manasseh Manashah. And the Gileadites took the passages of Jordan before the Ephraimites, and it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, Let me go over, that the men of Gilead said unto him, Art thou an Ephraimite? If he said, Nay, then said they unto him, Say now, Shabalath. And he said, Sabalath, for he could not frame to pronounce it right. Then they took him and slew him at the passages of Yaradan, and there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000, which essentially went into, the curses, Jake was warring against each other, but ultimately going into, when you go into this word for Sabalath, all right, it essentially goes into broken Hebrew. It's like a dialect, and it says Sabalath in the dialect of the Ephraimites. All right, which Shabalath goes into a channel, because they were by the river Jordan, Yaradan. It says flowing stream. All right, and then it says a branch. You have branches in Salat. Right here it says a stream, so specifically going into a stream. So which Jake, Jake was going off, but they understood that if they said it a certain way, they were talking to like Ephraim, because Ephraim had a certain dialect. All right, and ultimately when you go into the different cities and Esau's rulership, all right, you have those with different dialects and accents. All right, they might think a certain way and talk a certain way, and ultimately in that, it goes into the how society is ran. All right, so I want to get another one. This is John chapter 1 and verse 46, which all of this has a part to play in Esau's rulership. So when I go to John 1 and 46, it says, John 1 and 43, it says, the day following Yahweh would go forth into Galilee and find Philip and saith unto him, Follow me. Now Philip was of by Beth. Philip was of Bayath Tazayad, house of fish, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip findeth Nathanael, and said unto him, We have found him, of whom Masha and the law and the prophets did write, Yahushai of Nazareth, the son of Yahwasap. And Nathanael said unto him, Can there any good thing come out of Nazareth? Philip said unto him, Come and see. NLT. It says, Nazareth, exclaimed Nathanael, Can anything good come from Nazareth? Come and see for yourself, Philip replied. So, because, the Lord was from a rough area, so when you ultimately go into the different cities, it's a different spirit in different cities, and Esau does this, for a specific benefit. All right, I'm going to get this real fast. This is Acts chapter 19, and we'll get verse 26. And it says, Moreover, yea, see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods, which are made with hands, going into idols, so that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth. And that was essentially the vibration, that was the spirit that was pushed out of that specific area. Because even when you look at this so-called great goddess Diana, all right, that ultimately goes into Ishtar, all right. And when you go into that went into one of the 7 so-called wonders of the world, and that was essentially the vibration, the spirit that was pushed out of that specific place. So these people thought a specific way, which you had Jake in those areas, all right, and they were known as the Ephesians. And essentially, they was going off and worshiping Ishtar, and that Queen of Heaven spirit. Verse 28, it says, And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians. All right, which again you had Jake amongst those in Ephesus. All right, and that essentially went into why when Paul was speaking to some of the churches, well, he went around on his journeys, you see, but Jake in those different areas, they thought and they spoke different ways, because of where they were at, So I'm going to get this. This is Dabaryam, Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 28. And it says, The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Ultimately going into the curses, you see. And when you go into the different areas that Jake is scattered to, some of the curses may take hold on Jake in different areas, So when you go into port cities, all right, ultimately, you'll notice that Jake has more madness, all right, than Jake in different areas. Not saying Jake one is better than the other, you see, but different experiences in different areas are ultimately makes you come up a certain way, which again that ultimately goes into the curses. But this is the word for madness. It says shagaiwan. It says madness, root word. It says to be mad, to show madness, to rave through insanity, because when you go into some of these areas, Jake really is on crash out mode. You see, Jake really doesn't come up with any type of morals, so to speak. Like when you go into the port cities, again, it's a melting pot. So it's a lot of confusion in those specific areas. Really, it's confusion all over Babylon. You see, but when you go into port cities, all right, ultimately, it's going to be in the specific spirit of. In this day and age, like, because Esau's in rulership, a lot of times in those different cities, he has things set up that specific way, because in that area, he wants confusion to thrive, you see, because it works well to his benefit, ultimately going into the trade, the commerce, all right, the merchandise. All right, if you have a conglomerate of different people from different backgrounds, are they going to be more willing, all right, to try new stuff? And that essentially is how he's able to keep things going. All right. And going into this as well. All right, this is I'm gonna get this. This is Judith chapter 5, and this is verse 16. Verse 17, it says, and whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hated iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and the cities were taken by the enemies. All right. So when Jake is at one with the Lord, the Lord looks out, all right. He makes sure that we're good. All right. But when you go into how Esau rules, all right, essentially he puts Jake in different predicaments to where it's going to allow for Esau's his way of life to thrive, and he does it for his enterprise. All right, so if he can keep Jake in these specific areas confused, ultimately he pretty much is going to push forth his rulership, and you see a lot of this, all right, again in the inner city areas of those port regions. All right, so let me get this. This is Ezekiel Yahazak Allah, chapter 28. All right, we'll get verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Hey, Esau has set himself up as if he was God, as if he was the one as if he was the creator. You see? He's made it to where, he's the law of the land. All right. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There's no secret that they can hide from thee. The scriptures say this man's heart is deep. He's went great lengths. He's done his research. All right. So he sets up things for his benefit and not, Jake's benefit. Being that Esau, Edom is in rulership, the earth was given to the hand of the wicked. So it's in his power. You see, so he has the power to, you go to Revelation chapter 6. All right. It talks about how he took peace from the earth. You see, so he sets up things for his benefit to where it's going to cause the most confusion. And these areas are predominantly in the port cities. All right. That's where you're going to see a lot of confusion in the inner city areas. All right. So continuing on, it says, with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, thou hast increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So I want to get to word for traffic. All right. Because America is a land of traffic, okay? But a lot of that traffic goes into these port cities. A lot of business is done in what you would call port cities and harbors, all right? That's where a lot of trade is done, where goods come in. But it says Rakala, and it says merchandise, traffic, trade, all right? Traffic. And when you go into traffic, all right, when you go into like the actual license plates, when you talk about we're in traffic, and really, the license plates and stuff like that goes into traffic, because you got to pay for the tags, you got to pay for the registration, all of this, each year you got to pay property taxes on that. All of that is that goes into traffic. All right, you're driving around, that's traffic, you see. But Esau benefits off of the heavy traffic areas, all right, and being that port cities are heavy areas of trade. Or ultimately, that's going to lead forth to a lot of business. All right. And a lot of these areas, they have specific driving laws and stuff like that essentially makes it to where, like, if you were to get a ticket, all right, Esau's going to benefit off that ticket. He's going to eat off that ticket. He's going to get a lot of money from that. All right. From the specific population that's in that specific area. All right. So continuing on, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God, behold, therefore I'll bring strangers upon thee, and the terrible of the nations, they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, they shall defile thy brightness. Hey, so when you ultimately go into that, a lot of these cities, all right, port cities, they once was thriving, you see, but you got a lot of dead areas. All right, a lot of dead areas in these specific cities. So what is that going to go into? Let's get this real fast. This says, I put in Google, are port cities being revamped? Yes, port cities are being revamped, and many have recently renewed their interest in their waterfronts. Waterfront revitalization. Many port cities have revitalized their waterfronts. Baltimore, New York, London, Hamburg, San Francisco, new urban districts, architecture projects, innovation hubs. It says Port cities are becoming innovation hubs with a focus on blue economy and new productive activities related to the sea. So you might see, fun and leisure having to do with the water. All right, Hampton Roads. They got the boat take you from one city to the next. You might go to the waterside area. Climate change adaptation. Port cities are increasingly involved in climate change adaptation initiatives such as elevating or relocating vulnerable components like fuel storage or electrical facilities. It says these efforts can help to drive social cohesion and local employment and can inspire other cities. You see, so what does this all go into? It says social cohesion and local employment can inspire other cities. Let me get this. This is Yeshaya Isaiah chapter 19. And I'm going to get this one. It says, Yeshaya Isaiah chapter 19 verse 1, it says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. All right, ultimately, because what did the port cities thrive off of? Being a conglomerate, you see. But if it's a conglomeration of different people from different backgrounds, all right, Esau would try to make everyone get along, you see. But that's not thus saith prophecy. All right, prophecy says, hey, Egyptian's going to be against Egyptian. You see, so when you go into this, they're trying to revamp this. It says these efforts can help to drive social cohesion and local employment and can inspire other cities. You see, so by revamping the port cities, that's nothing more than this right here. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 51, and we'll get verse 9, and it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. All right, so essentially, Babylon isn't going to be healed, you see, but that's Esau's way, all right, of verse 3. All right, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. All right, so by them trying to revamp and get everybody on board by going back to this, the social cohesion and the local employment, essentially that's them, communing with left hand knowledge, all right, trying to heal Babylon. You see, but the scriptures say that Babylon isn't going to be healed. I'm going to get this real fast. This is Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 15. It says, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So that's them essentially trying to, again, drive social cohesion and local employment. There's no work for Egypt. All right, this place is going down. CTD, circling the dream. So let's get this. All right, this is Shamwath, Exodus chapter 1. All right, we'll give verse 9, and it says, and he said unto his people, behold, the people, and he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Yasha'Allah are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. You see, so in these different port cities, Esau essentially he understands that Jake builds up these cities. All right, so what do you see a lot of times? New jobs. Okay, if you do this, you get a bonus. All right, or essentially trying to, in a lot of areas like this, is always like offers for new work. All right, in a port city, all right, you got shipyards. They're always hiring, and they have a high turnover rate as well. So it's constant, a constant influx of new workers. You see, but what we're seeing is that in these different cities and stuff like that, it's no work. They're saying that there's work, but there's actually no work. Nothing is going to revamp that spirit that once was in America, Babylon, the Great Egypt. All right, which heavily relies on these different port cities and the culture and the society and social constructs in that specific area. All right, so I'm gonna get this. This is Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 12, and it says, Verse 11, surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath purpose upon Egypt. You see, because going back into this right here, these efforts can help to drive social cohesion and local employment and can inspire other cities. All right, so with that being stated, that's not what the Lord purposed. You see, the Lord didn't purpose for America to be revamped, to have social cohesion, to have more employment. You see, so Esau is a liar, because even though he's pushing that, all right, it's nothing but a veil. It's smoke and mirrors, all right, because what the Lord has purpose upon America, Babylon the Great, all right, is destruction. All right, I'm going to get this real fast. This is Malachi chapter 1, and we'll get verse 4. It says, verse 3, it says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Hey, they gonna build, but the Lord's gonna throw down. You see, it's coming to no avail. All right, he's building up these cities, all right, these apartments and stuff like that. You see, but hey, this place isn't going to be revamped. All right, homelessness is at an all-time high. All right, unemployment, crime. All right, and all of these are prevalent. All right, again in these port cities. You see, these are like Esau's backbone. That's how he gets the supplies. You see, because the economy acts as a lifeline of the people. You see, so if the port cities ain't doing too good, hey, the rest of the cities, ain't necessarily gonna be doing too good, because going back to this, it says and can inspire other cities. So Esau uses these as a revamp. You see, because then you also have transplant cities, which that's where people are moved to. You see, they land back, or they're essentially they can be likened to like sister cities. These are also your metropolises, all right, mother cities, to where it's a lot of traffic going on as well. More so like areas that women are going to be catered to, because women buy a lot of stuff. It has a lot of things in areas like that. Like if you take a city like Charlotte, all right, you got schools, you got a lot of businesses, you have a lot of people coming and going. Same thing in port cities, you see, but port cities is going to be a larger melting pot, as you got your military areas. So I'm going to get one more, all right, and I'm going to close. All right, this is Revelation chapter 13. We'll get verse 9. You see, because Esau has the mindset of, hey, he's going to build back better. He's going to come back, he's going to be able to revamp and use the same trick, but that's not, that's not going to happen. I'm going to get that real fast. This is Tahoyam Psalms chapter 144, and we'll give verse 11, and it says, rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. Hey, so Esau relies on, his knowledge that he's gotten from these different societies, all right, where he studied from the ancient Phoenicians, the Canaanites, all right, when he studied from Egypt, all right, Egypt heavily relied on their economy from the Nile, all right, Greece, Rome. You see, all of these has something to do with ports. All right. A lot of different ancient civilizations were near water. You see. So let's get this. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9. And it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Hey, Esau feel like, you can ride off in the sunset, have a, sipping some yayan, like on a beach or something like that. Like, nah, you led the children of Yasha'Allah. Banyam Shal Yasha'Allah, the children of Yasha'Allah, into captivity. So you're going into captivity. All right, all this building back better and stuff like that, it's going to be to no avail. It's not going to get anywhere. All right, because you're going into captivity, you're going into slavery. All right, in which Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Esau, Edom killed with the sword, so he's going to be killed with the sword. He was rewarded that sword in Genesis. All right, it says, here's the patience of the faith of the saints. Hey, this devil has lived deliciously. He's done what he's wanted. He's done what he has wanted to do. All right. And essentially, it's time to pay up. You see, so revamping your port cities and the old tricks, it's not going to work for you anymore, because we're coming up into, we're in the time of the end to where the Lord is bringing, enacting judgment. You see, so what Esau essentially confided in, what he benefited off of, hey, that's coming to his, that's coming to shoot him in the foot. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." Esau essentially confided he benefited and took pride in his glory or his history. All right, that's why you got to erase. That's why they're coming up with the critical race theory. All right. And which is a lot of history in different port cities. All right, again, Miami, Savannah, Charleston, the 757, the Hampton Roads, Tidewater area. All right, all of these have in Esau's mind, rich history. All right, so in these different areas, they're having to change their curriculum. All right, they're changing their curriculum. You see, because that's essentially shameful spewing being on my glory. You see, because those jakes that live on in those specific areas, are they having something to say, and then it's making Esau, his history, like, it's really being exposed. It's being brought out that, hey, all this was made and built on the backs of Jake. All right, Esau brought Jake into these different areas. All right, and previously, he was able to say, hey, hey, I did this, I did that. But see, now, like, those these Edomites coming up now, all right, the younger generation, hey, they're being embarrassed for their the actions of their foreparents, because they are their foreparents coming back in a regeneration, and it's being required. You see, and they got to face that. Let me get this. This is quite a lot of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 15. It says, "That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High required that which is past." You see, so the Lord is requiring an account. All right, when you go into the word for require, it says bakwash, and it says to make an inquisition. It says be sought, request, to strive after, procure, require, inquire, inquisition. Hey, so they're being searched out. All right, and they don't have any answers. You see. So I just want to go into that. Even though Esau, Edom is trying to build back better and build up cities in these different port cities and all the cities across America, Babylon the Great. You see, because when you ultimately go into America, it's just one large city. But even though Esau is doing that, hey, he has destruction to look forward to. You see, so Adonai Tazaza Banaya Lords, where there's a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Adonai Tazaza Atam Yash Yawam Tawabe, Lords, where you have a good day. Wa Shalom Lakam, peace to you all. Shalom.